Assalamu alaikum students. Now this lecture is for 12th standard, chapter number 3, advanced JavaScript of information technology. This is my 36th lecture. Okay, in this lecture, now today we are going to start with skill oriented programs. We have already done one program, SOP question number 1. Now this is the question number 3. The question number 2, the SOP 2 is from the chapter, first chapter, that is advanced web designing. Okay, so that question, the SOP 2 question, is from chapter number 1, advanced web designing. Now today we are going to start with SOP 3, which is the JavaScript question. Now what is the question? See, this is the question: create event driven JavaScript program. Now event driven, here every question in 12th standard, every question is based on event driven program. Okay, every JavaScript program is based on event driven programming. So you're supposed to create one form and you're supposed to create one button to create your event driven programming. Okay, to call a function, you're supposed to create a button, and on clicking on that function or on clicking on that button, okay, you are supposed to call a function and then you are supposed to perform the action. Got it? So create event driven programming for the following: make use of appropriate variables, JavaScript inbuilt script, strings, functions and control structure. So the main question is to accept a string from the user and count the number of vowels in the given string. Now what you are supposed to do, you are supposed to accept one string from user. How you are going to accept this string from the user? There are two ways. One way is to create the text box and you are supposed to accept the string from that text box. Okay, the second way is you can prompt the user to enter the text box, enter the string in the text box in prompt box. So in today's example we are going to use prompt option. Okay, to accept this string from user we are going to use prompt option, and to count the number of vowels in the given string. Now we are supposed to count the total number of vowels present in one string. Okay, counting, we have already done one program for this counting, that is count total number of odd number or count total number of even number in the sequence, right? So we have already done this. Now today we are going to going to first find out the vowels in a string, and then we are going to count every vowel and display the vowel on the screen. For example, this is the example, like hello students. In this string, this is the string hello students. In this string there are 4 vowels, right? E, O, U, E. These are the 4 vowels present in this string. So the total number of vowels are 4 in the above string. Got it? Got the question? What you are supposed to do? You are supposed to create one form. On that form you are supposed to create one button. On clicking on that button you are supposed to call a function, right? In that function you are supposed to pop up one prompt box from where you can get the string from the user. Okay, get this string from the user, then find out the number of vowels, then count the number of vowels and then display the vowels on the string. Okay, so total number of vowels you are supposed to display on the screen. Understood this? Now we are going to try it practically. First we will see the output, how you are supposed to create it. Now see, in this example you are supposed to create a form. This is a form where this one is this is the button. Okay, on clicking on this button you are supposed to pop up one prompt box. This is the prompt box from where you are supposed to ask the string from the user. Enter your string. This is the message which you passed on the prompt box. Okay, so user is going to write his or her string in this. For example, hello. This is one string, right? So after clicking on OK, you are supposed to display total number of vowels in hello. Okay, so there are 2 vowels in hello. See it again. When I click on this, it will ask you for the string. I have written hello. So there are 2 vowels, that is E and O. These are 2 vowels. Now you are supposed to count the number of vowels. First you are supposed to find it out. 1, okay, 2. So there are 2 vowels in the string. After pressing OK, you are supposed to display the total number of vowels in message box. This is the message box where you have displayed 2. There are total 2 vowels in the string. So I have displayed 2. Okay. Got the question? See it again. Count vowels in the string. Hello students. Now here there are total 4 vowels. Got it? Another string. Welcome to IT lecture. Now say students, there is a scenario that user may enter the vowels in capital letter also, right? User may enter the string in capital letter also. So here if you enter the string in capital letter, it will not count that. Okay, so you are supposed to first convert the string into small letter. Okay, and then you are supposed to start counting the vowels. So here you are supposed to first convert it into lowercase letter and then you're supposed to count it. So total number of vowels are E, O, E, O, I, E, E, U. Okay, so these are the total number of vowels are 8 in the string. Got it? Now how it works, see here. So this is the source code. As I told you that it is an event driven program, so you are supposed to create a button, right? Button on click is equal to count. This count is the name of the function. Here on clicking on this button, I am going to call the function count. This count is a function name and this is the function calling. Okay, and this is the event handler which will call an event, that is count. The action is count and this is the event name, that is the event handler. Got it? So on the screen the label on the button is count vowels in a string. This is the label on the button, right? Now script starts. Function count. This is the declaration of the function count. What is the name of the function? The function name is count and this is the keyword to declare a function. So function count. Okay, now what you are supposed to do, you are supposed to start a prompt box, right? You are supposed to display a prompt box to accept the string from the user. So to accept this string from the user, we use prompt method. str1 is equal to where str1 is equal to prompt, enter your string. So whatever string user will enter in the prompt box is going to store in this variable str1. Whatever string is entered by the user, it is going to save in str1 variable. Okay, after accepting the string from the user by using prompt box, you are supposed to convert the string into lowercase letter. Okay, the total string, whatever string user is going to enter, you are supposed to first convert that string into lowercase letter. So to convert the string into lowercase letter, we use string name dot to lowercase method. This is the method of a string. Okay, this is the method of a string variable, string object. Got it? So the string name is str1. The user has entered his or her string into str1. So we are going to convert the str1 string into lowercase letter. So str1 to lowercase. This is the method of string. Got it? So after converting the string into lowercase letter, we are going to save that string into str variable. there are two variables, one is str1 and another one is str. In str1 the string is accepted from the user is going to save in str1. Okay, and in str what we are going to do, we are going to convert the accepted string into lowercase letter and then we are going to save it in str. str is a variable where you are going to save this string into lowercase letter. Got it? Now next step is to declare another variable to count the number of vowels, that is vowel count. This is the another variable. The variable is initialized by 0. The initial value of this variable is 0. Nothing is there in this variable right now. So the initial value of this variable is 0. Got it? Now we will use for loop for I is equal to 0. I is less than or equal to str dot length minus 1. Till what time the for loop will continue? Till the last digit of the variable. Okay, till the last digit of this string, whatever string user has entered, the length of that string minus 1, till that time the loop will continue. Got it? Now it will come inside if str dot char at I. Okay, char at I means the initial value of I is 0, so character at 0 is equal to a. The first condition is str dot char at I. We have already seen this char at method of string variable string object, right? So what this char at method will do, it will return the number position of the value entered. Okay, so it will find the character at ith position. So if you entered 0, so it will find, it will see the character at the 0th position. Okay, if that character at 0th position is equal to a, then what will happen, it will go and check the another condition. If the character at 0th position is e, if the character at ith position is I, if the character at 0th position is O, the next condition is if the character at ith position is U. So first it will find out the characters at 0th position. If it is equal to A, or this is or, if this condition is true and all the other conditions are false, then it will execute this vowel count plus equal to 1. It will add the 1 value in vowel count. The initial value was 0. Now the value of vowel count will 1. Why? Because it will add 1 in vowel count. Okay, then again it will come here, it will initialize the variable by 1. So the value of I will be 1. It will check the character at 1st position, the first position it will check. Okay, then again if any condition of if is true, then it will again come inside and will add 1 in vowel count. Okay, this way the loop will continue to the last value or last character of this string, and then at the end, when the condition, all the conditions are false, then it will come out and it will display the alert, that is the vowel count is whatever the vowel count will be, the total number of characters, the total number of vowels, it will display those vowels in alert box. Got it? So it will display the total number of vowels in alert box. See it again. When I click on this, it should open, enter your string, prompt box, right? So whenever I'll write any string in this, it should count the number of vowels. So at first position it will count, right? The ith position is 0, so it will start from 0th position. It will count, it will check, it will compare the first position. Okay, if the first position is E, A, I, O, U, then it will start, it will add 1 in count. Okay, see, it will display the total number of vowels in the string. Got it? So this was your SOP 3. This was your practical number 3. Okay, of advanced JavaScript. We have done already one practical of SOP 1 to change the background color automatically and to change the background color on clicking or on mouse move. Okay, so that was the first practical. This is the second practical. Now again we are going to start with the revision of advanced JavaScript. So we have already studied about what is script, why we use script, features of JavaScript, right? We have already seen all these things. The types of Java. Today we are going to see the type of JavaScript. There are two types of JavaScript. There are two types of scripting. First one is client-side scripting and another one is server-side scripting. What is this client-side scripting? This is the image. Okay, by seeing this image you can better understand what is this client-side scripting. In the client-side scripting, the source code resides on the client machine only. There is no use of any server. There is no use of any web server here. There is no use of any internet facility here. Only the client machine is only the server and the client. Okay, it will work as a server as well as a client only. So the source code resides on the client machine only. Okay, it will execute on the client machine and the output will display it on the web browser of the client. So there is no use of any server. Okay, so the web server is not in the picture. Only the client machine is required, where you are supposed to require one notepad or one text editor to write the source code and one web browser to execute and to display the output on the screen. You require a web browser. So in client side scripting you require only a client machine, where you require two things. One is a text editor, another one is a web browser. So the source code resides on the client machine only. It's saved on the client machine and it is executed on the client machine only, and the output will display on the web browser. There is no use of any server here. There is no use of any web server. Okay, now see, the script resides on the client machine and executes on the client web browser, and the output will display on the client machine. That is called as a client side scripting. The scripting is called as a client side scripting. If the script resides on the client machine, executes on the client web browser, and it displays the output on the client web browser, so the script called as client side scripting. Now next one is server side scripting. What is the server side scripting? Here the role of web server comes. Okay, so it requires a web server. The script resides on the server side. So whatever script is there, it resides on the server side. A client will send a request to execute the script. Okay, after the client request, the server executes the script on the server machine. Okay, and generate the output, but it will not display that output on the server machine. It will send the output as a response to the client, and then client will display that output on the web browser. So there is a role of server here, right? So by using internet facility, the client will send a request to the server. The script resides on the server side. The client will send the request to execute that server script. Okay, and by accepting the client request, it will execute the web server will execute the code on the client on the server side. Okay, so it executes the code on the server side, and after executing the code it will generate the output, but it will not display that output on the server side. It will send the output to the client as a response. Okay, and then the client will display that response, the accepted response, on the web browser of the client machine. So this is what server side scripting. In server side scripting, the script resides on the web server. It is activated by the client request. The client will send the request to activate the client to activate the script which is resides on the server, web server, right? Then the web server will execute that script. After executing the script, it will send the generated output to the client as a response. Okay, and then the client will display that response on the web browser of the client machine. Got it? So this is the difference between client-side scripting and server-side scripting. This was the introduction of client-side scripting and server-side scripting. Now we will see few difference between client-side scripting and server-side scripting. The first difference is it is used at the front end. The client-side scripting used at the front end. So whatever client is using like form, if the client is using, if the client is filling the form, so it is on the front side of the user, correct? So after submitting that form is going to be submitted on the data of the form is going to be submitted on the server. So here the role of the server starts. It is used at the backend, the server side script used at the backend. Okay, after accepting the data from the client, the script resides on the server, will execute the data accepted from the client. Okay, so the server side script used at the backend and the client side script used at the front end. The client side script, in the client side script, source code is visible to the client, as the source code is written or resides on the client machine only. So anyone who are using the system of the client can easily access the source code. It is visible to the client on the machine. Okay, but here on server side the script is not visible, it is hidden. So only an authorized person who is having the facility to access those data is be able to access the source code. Got it? Not everyone is going to access it. Only the authorized person is going to access the source code of the web server. So it is not visible to the client. The code of the server side scripting is not visible to the client, but the source of the source code of the client side scripting is visible to the client. Got the difference? Now the third difference is it does not need any web server interaction, as the script resides on the server side and it executes the source code on the client machine only. So there is no role of server, right? So there is no interaction of the server required here. But at the server side scripting, we require a web server to communicate with the client, correct? So a web server is required here. Now fourth difference is it involves languages like HTML5, JavaScript, etc. So whatever you're going to do at the client side, it requires the JavaScript program, and JavaScript is a part of HTML5. So you are using this JavaScript in the HTML5 programming. So these are the languages which are involved in client side scripting. Okay, but at the server side, PHP, ASP.NET, Ruby, C#, these are the languages which are required for client side scripting. Okay, these are the programming languages. Now on client side there is no need of any special software. So no special software is required, only a web browser and a text editor is required. I already explained it to you, right? Now fifth difference of server side is it requires a special software, a web server, to execute the script. To execute the script we require a web server, correct? So here the special requirement of the software is required. Okay, now sixth one is it reduces the load of the server by validating the data on the machine. So if the data is error free on the client machine only, so the time of the server is saved, correct? It will send the error free data to the server, so server will process those data quickly. But if it is not error free, then it will slow the time of the server. Okay, so it creates network traffic if the server is handling so many clients at a time, right? As the server is handling so many clients at a time, and if it is handling one client, the data of that client is not error free, there are so many errors. So if it starts checking those error of that client, so it will take time till that time the remaining clients are in the queue, right? So it will slow down the system process of the server. So if it starts checking the data on the server side, and it takes lots of time to entertain one client only. So for that purpose, a network traffic jam problem occur on the server side. Got it? So there are 6 differences of client side scripting and server side scripting. So the first one is, what is client side scripting? The client side scripting is where in client side scripting, the script resides on the client machine and executes on the client web browser, is called as a client side scripting. Server side scripting means the script resides on the web server, okay, and is activated by the client request. If the client send the request, then only this web server will activate the client request or activate the script, okay. Then it executes the script on the web server and then send the generated output to the client as a response. So the client will display that output on the screen of client, okay. So we are going to stop here only. In next lecture we are going to start with SOP 4 question, okay. Thank you so much. We will stop here.